Are cash advances expensive in terms of merchant cash advance is what I am speaking about. Hi, this is Michael with Viral Funding Solutions, and I want to make this video for clients as well as other brokers and agents, so it will be a conjunction of the two. Let me get right into it. So I've been getting a lot of emails from other brokers / agents, clients saying, hey, this looks too expensive, or I just don't want to take this. There's no use for it. I was expecting a monthly repayment, not a daily or a weekly. Can I get a payment of this amount instead? And with me, that rarely ever happens anymore, where I get to a point where there's an offer and they thought otherwise, that it would be a monthly repayment and that this and then that. All that is clear. When you go through the application of a cash advance or any other type of a loan product, you already know more or less what you're getting yourself into and what the possibilities of this are. And so to answer that question, a cash advance, more so a merchant cash advance, it is expensive. Hi, Jeff. Welcome in. And they have APRs even as high as 350, if not 300, 100% APRs. Listen to that very carefully. 100% and above and below. However, you shouldn't be fixated on what is my APR. Is it 40%? Is it 50%? Do I have 70? I want to get it at 5%. I wanted to get it at 10, 15%. We all have a number in mind. And sure, these products are expensive, and by no means are they best for every type of person. What this product does, you have to know about. It's not about the service itself, but it's about you. Like, I have an example here, and again, I'm sharing this on behalf of clients that I've worked with, brokers / agents, so please listen very carefully. This will be a conjunction, as I said. And so I have examples here where people have shown me, and I'm at the top of what I do. Just so you know this, I'm an expert. I'm up here, and I don't say that in a cocky way. I said it in a confident way and more of a humble and respectful way, because a lot of people, they just don't understand how these services work. And so I see a post here in one of the groups. This is more on the broker / agent side, and you may have been in this position before. Now, this individual, and there are multiple, he's not the only one, but he's showing me and us what a client was getting in a merchant cash advance. Now, these cash advances, if you don't know, they're based on your future receivables. So you pay back a portion of your revenue of what you make in the future. So whatever you're making in sales, if you're making a higher amount one day, more gets taken out of your account, less gets taken out. Now, there could be a fixed percentage. It can be variable. There could be a fixed daily / weekly amount. Sometimes there's monthly, not always bi-weekly, but monthly is hard. In this industry, a lot of people default, they go into collections. There's not a lot of lenders, although I know one very well that's the best in the industry, and likely the only one or two. And so the situation here, what's happening is this individual has somebody who was approved for, let's just put a number. I'm not going to say the exact amount. And more or less, they're getting $40,000. Okay? Now, the details are outlined here. I know how these work. I've worked with lenders like this. I know what the offers entail. And so I'm seeing the funding amount as we're talking. I see the term. I can't say all that, but let's just say they got about above 6 months, 6.5, we'll put it there, a little slightly under. Daily payment, they're getting a 440 plus. I'm not saying the exact amount. Monday through Friday, no weekends. The lender closing fee sits at just below $3,000. Payback on about $40,000, they're paying back, we'll say 55, or we'll round this up to about 60,000. We'll say 20,000 more or less. We'll say 21, 22,000, a little bit above 60K. Now, this is non-collateralized with no prepayment penalties. Pay back in a certain amount of time, and this is what it'll be reduced to. Pay back in this amount of time, and then you're going to reduce it to this amount. So I won't go into all of those details. Now, the next part is what's most important. So I commented back on this individual's post, and I normally don't. Like, this is not time I take out of my schedule. I'm a very observant person. I'm that guy who sees everything, doesn't necessarily have to comment. Now, when I see something, somebody really needs help, yes, I'm there. And so with what I did here, I will see, and I'll go into the comments in a moment. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Appreciate you for the hearts. Please share this room if you feel it's valuable. You think somebody else would get the help and benefit from this. And so I commented, hi, their name. Thank you for sharing. I'm not sure. Oh, wait, let me come back up here to the comment that they were leaving them. So you kind of know a little bit more of the backstory. So this individual, this client says it to this other agent / broker, goes, I'm not paying daily. I want a monthly repayment. No more than, guess what, $1,500 a month. Now, my mathematical mind is already making numbers when I was reading that. What is this really? I never expected this type of a loan. Well, it's not a loan, it's an advance. Not technically a loan based on future receivables. It's not classified as a loan, how it's amortized, and that's not based on interest, although you can see it as interest, but it's factor rates, total payback. Anyways, they didn't expect this. Okay, so that already tells me, like I told the client, and you'll see what I told them in a second. I can go to my bookie for this type of stuff. I'm willing to offer up collateral, but nothing like this. Pretty much saying that the lender and the people are nuts. I said, hey, okay, so that's another part. Can't get into the details on that. And then the client comes back to say I did, he's saying that, or this person's saying, what a scam, trying to help businesses grow and stay in business and want about 500 daily for, let's just say for 40,000 in this example, just above 6.5 months or more or less. They should be ashamed of themselves. Over 25,000 in interest, they're paying back pretty much the repayment over that time. And then he puts, HELL, anyone need, I don't know, he went on a little rant there. And then he was just kind of like upset about, or this person was upset about it. So I'm not smirking in that way where it's like, we got you. Never, ever will I do that to you. Never, ever, ever will I put you in a position where if this funding does not make sense, I'll tell you that straight in. I'm a straight shooter. No, don't do it. And so here's what I responded back to. Hi, their name. Thanks for sharing. I'm not sure if this can be shared here elsewhere between you, the client, and someone else. But you'll have to check in. And I'll still leave you my thoughts on what you presented above to help you out, as well as others who are perhaps looking at this. Did they not know before they applied they were getting into a daily / weekly setup? That's my first question I asked. Simple. It said it in what you posted. And other individuals, he's not the only one. There are multiple. And so it doesn't look like they knew what they were getting themselves into. So this is why you're getting this kind of backlash. This is why people are applying to something and then they get an offer, they get disapproved, and they go, what? What happened? I thought I was eligible. I thought you showed me, or I thought I was supposed to be. The page showed me that if I had a FICO score to this and that I had... No. There's more on the back end and stuff that we're evolving. More things are changing in this microeconomic level and in this market. So you guys have to understand the inflation, the recession, what all of that has to do with your borrowing power. And I say it over and over on my channel on YouTube, as well as my blog. So I said it again. Did they not know before they applied they were getting into a daily / weekly setup? Are they looking at this from more of a savings perspective than getting a greater return on their investment from doubling, tripling, quadrupling their return on investment, ROI, and gross monthly revenue sooner rather than later? And perhaps even profitability down the road, if that is a measure from that advance that can affect them in a positive, or perhaps it's a negative way, but it's something that's working. That's another question on a lower scale down the road. So I said here, my mathematical mind goes 1,000, let's just say 1,600 unsecured, quote unquote, lump sum business financing that the client was looking to get more or less for a monthly repayment. So I'm reverse engineering what those payments would look like on a daily basis, if they were fixed or not. So 1,600, or let's just put a round number at 1,500. Are you kidding me? So to equate to about 1,500, you're looking for a payment at about $75 a day, more or less. 70 if we get it to 1,400 more so. Well, how are we giving you a $70 a day repayment? Unless, here's where I go into my next part. That's not even $100 per day for 5 business days. 500 times 4, what is that? 2,000. Usually get 4 weeks in a month. That's about 2,000 plus an additional probably towards the interest. So if you're trying to keep it underneath 1,500, you've already gone over if you're expecting underneath or expecting $100 a day repayment. And in this industry, especially with merchant cash advances, getting underneath $100 per day, I've had business owners like that. Michael, I'm not taking this unless I get a repayment of a weekly underneath $500 a week. Well, you don't qualify for a line of credit. There's personal loans out there, but I doubt it's going to be that low for you. We can work, look, and this is where I work on this part. Yeah, that's not happening. And they're asking for less than that to equate to $1,500 per month. Yeah, that's not happening. Unless perhaps you add in a line of credit, LOC for short. But even then, you'd have to extend their term, but it doesn't work that way, especially for their situation. And so what I mean by that point is, like personal loans go 1 to 5 years. Will you get maximum of 5 years? That's another question. Well, the cash advances you get normally between 3 to 11 months. But in this, now we've changed all that, so it's 3 to 24 months. Usually, and that's a width of a medium cash advance. Sometimes up to 36 months with a monthly lender, a monthly option, but that doesn't happen unless you have exceptional cash flow and credit and time in business and you're not fluctuating. And so I'm talking like 6-figure pluses, and not only just 100,000. I'm speaking like north of 400,000, more so closer to 500K. And so that's if you don't have anything else. You don't have business credit. Somewhat of your credit we can work with and be more flexible on, and a few other things industry specific in the economy, and what other things you have out there that maybe there's liens and stuff like that won't allow you to. But that's what I said here. And then going further, you'd have to extend their term, but it doesn't work that way, especially for their situation. So the other opposing view is if they didn't like that type of a daily repayment, well, let's try to extend their term, but they can't start with that. You have to grow into that. You have to come back. You start off with 120 payments up 6 months. Okay, well, next time around, we'll probably get you 180. Maybe now you're bumped up to 8 months, 9 months, and then you're getting an additional funding on top of that 40,000. Instead, you're getting now approved for 50, 60,000. We're lowering the rates. So you're not paying back 25,000 on what you believe to call here interest. Instead, you're paying back maybe 20, 15,000, more or less. It's shrinking. And this is kind of what you see with business term loans as well. You get 80,000, you're expected to pay back 95,000. 98,000. How we amortize it. I do all of this stuff with my underwriters. I know all of the offers. I go through the equipment financing, the personal loans, the unsecured term loans, secured term loans. Don't think I don't know this. Being cheeky and being sneaky doesn't work with me. And I'm going to cut through that clutter. And if I'm wasting energy and time with you, go away. And so over here, also, do you know exactly what they're using their funds for? This is what I'm asking this agent / broker. Do you know exactly what they're using their funds for? And how will that affect their business? I'm sure they don't. Like, they wouldn't have been in this product if they didn't know. Like, you got to know these things. Did you know the underwriting guideline just so you have a better idea of what people will qualify for? Perhaps not. It's more or less out of the question asking them what they'd be comfortable with if we had a monthly repayment, so you have more leverage. So in that way, I ask, okay, you were expecting a monthly repayment. Let's say a line of credit. You only get weekly. You wanted monthly. Well, there's another way to look at this. What would you be more comfortable paying so that we can leverage weekly and perhaps still get you weekly? If it makes sense to drop it, get you more comfortable. But if it's monthly that you're ultimately set on, for what reasons, I have to know. I'm not going to pressure you. I just want to know why it's pushing you to do a monthly repayment. All my payments are set up that way. I don't want to pay weekly because I don't think I can handle that. Well, it's not the case. A monthly may be more expensive because of rent, credit cards, on top of everything else that you have going on. So you have more leverage to go daily, but may have little to no negotiation power to start with less. So it's out of the question for an individual like that where they're not getting multiple offers. So one client may get 100K. Then they might get underneath that from the same lender at 80K option, a 60K, a 40K option, 30K. Choose whichever one you want. This one won't get that. They can't say, well, I don't want to take 40,000. Can I start off with 20? Maybe I start off with half of that. And I drop my repayments from about a $500 a day to about $250. Would that help you? But if there is no negotiation, there is no other offer, you have to start with this. That's where I can see it being more troubling. But you wouldn't be seeking this financing, and it wouldn't be like you can't afford it. We wouldn't give you something that you couldn't afford, not having extra cash flow on hand, not all this stuff that you don't think we don't look at, but we do. And so I said over here, there are many more questions to follow up on, but I'm going to leave it there. That's it. Point blank done. And so turning back to this, are you that agent slash broker slash client who's doing this? With me, it doesn't happen unless you walked into something and you're like, well, I forgot about it all. I just was ignorant and stubborn and I wanted to see what I'd get approved for. My ego got in the way. And then you waste my energy and time like I did with a couple of other people the other day. What a waste of people's time. And these people are inconsiderate. They're unaccountable, unresponsible. I don't care if your business is generating $60,000 a month, 100, 7 figures for what I care. I do. But who are you as a person? I don't care necessarily first what your business, I care about who I'm working with. Are you tolerable? What are you going to do when I ask for feedback? Oh, I'm going to clinch. I'm going to cry about it. I'm going to go ghost. I'm going to go out of town for a week and not even give me a heads up, because I have people who do that. And I tell them ahead of time what to do and what not to do. But they're inconsiderate. They think I might just be a receptionist when I tell them I'm not. I'm not here just, do you see me working in a Fortune 500 company? Does it look like it? No. I do well for myself. But that's besides everything. If you want to work with the best, you better be able to tolerate the best. And if you just want to work with an automated answering machine, go ahead, do it. Go for it. See what happens. It's okay. It might work for you. It might not. A lot of the times, that's putting it rather nicely. I'd say statistically over 60 to 70% of the time, most people mess it up. And it's more closer to 80 to 90 on that. And I'm being conservative on those numbers. Depends on the services too. So that's what I want to leave you guys with. Do you guys have any questions? Let me come over here to the comments. 1 second. Appreciate you. Thank you. What do you mean by take the money and run, Jeff? As in, like it's a bad way of looking at it? Maybe you're still in here or not. Or a good way? You have to weigh the pros and cons of a merchant cash advance. Even unsecured term loans. You have collateral to offer up that look like this person did in a few other situations. But without that, I mean, how are you going to be able to answer things if you can't educate yourself on both sides? And there's a lot more that goes into this. Yes, APR. All things require personal guarantees, especially if it is your first time around. It's not like a business credit card per se, where let's say like Amex or Brex corporate cards, or we're talking about other ones out there. You're personally liable for making sure you cover the debt. Why people, it's beyond me why people think that they shouldn't get a personal guarantee. They're looking for it. They're trying to protect their credit. I get that. You have a house you just purchased. You have liens on this. You have properties. You don't want anything being taken away from you. But you got to be willing to give to get. I'm sorry, but I get it. We're in a financial situation where we're not trying to have a personal guarantee. But you earn that respect. You don't just get it. Like, what happens if you default? If it's non-collateralized, what does the lender have to fall back on? Collateral? No. So what's going to happen when they need to get their money back? They're going to go after personal assets. Rightfully so. They should. I would. I gave you $50,000 and you didn't return it to me. Guess what? You're liable. Period. Doesn't matter. It's the truth. And we're trying to figure out a loophole or a system that we can get in and say, hey, there's no personal guarantees here. Okay. How about you fix your personal credit? How about that? I'm not saying it to you, but I'm saying it to everybody else in here and who's watching later on the replay. See, we want loopholes. We want shortcuts. We're not willing to build our personal credit. We're not willing to build our business credit. That's all obvious to me. I mean, I don't have to go into it in detail right now, how to build all that, because I have content already made. Build your personal, build your business credit. Separate the two. Utilization 1, utilization 2 over here. How you can max out over here. Personal credit, it's going to be a lot harder, especially with lower limits. And then everything is underneath your personal name, underneath your personal account. So you're held liable if anything happens, repercussions. They can come after you, not your business. Plus, you get credit lines, business credit, and then you can stack that on top of a merchant cash advance if that makes you happy. And you go, I don't like daily, weekly. I'm with you. I've been there. I've gone receive funding like that. But I can afford it. My sales per day or every other day or whatever they're at are higher to offset that daily repayment of 200 to 500, whatever it is, where I'm making daily sales of 2,000. I'm making 7,000 per day in sales. Let's just say that. I'm not saying exactly, but I'm saying, hey, and I have my other businesses to help. So it's like, okay, if that's the case, if I'm making, let's say for an example here, $7,000 to $8,000 a day. Now, what does that equate to if I were to take an advance? Now the numbers are adjusted, and I can afford to pay back a certain amount depending on my monthly revenue, $7,000 to $8,000 a month or a week. What does that equate to? About $28,000 in sales / revenue. Depositing is another circumstance, how much we're depositing and what we're depositing. And so if I'm making $28,000 a month and I'm making $7,000 in sales, we're breaking it down per day. So we talk about for the course of 5 days on business days, then yes, then we're looking at that 35K times 4, then we can do those numbers and then work from there. We're going to work up higher into the closer 6-figure mark. And so with that being said, just understand that how it's broken down with your sales, how that has an impact to how much you can take on. We won't give you a payment that doesn't make sense. And we see we're seeing your business. We're not like closing our eyes and going, yep, they deserve a $500 a day repayment. That's not how this works. So does anybody have any questions? I'll leave this open for a little bit. I just wanted to clear the air because, man, do some people need help? It's not only your business needs help, it's the education you need help on. And that's why I created the Business Funding Master Academy course, guys. If you guys have not checked that out yet, it's in the bio. And what this is, it's an A to Z business funding course. I created it, yours truly. I'll walk you through each and everything. You'll learn more about me, my story. You'll get to see how every service works. I am not BSing you. Like, if this doesn't help you, I don't know what will. You're trying to seek something that doesn't exist. You're not focusing on the things that matter the most. And you just have to tweak this a little bit, your mindset. You're not seeing something that I am. And so if I see something and I go into a business, how do I increase its revenue? I got to work backwards. I got to figure out the market. I got to know where this market is leading. I got to know what the history of it is. I have to know what other businesses are doing also to generate that kind of profit or that kind of revenue per month. How are they setting up? And then I work backwards from that and I go, what would my profitability need to be if I wanted to attain this type of a goal? And I work with business owners on this every single freaking day. And I know my stuff like that. And I've gone into businesses. I've worked for businesses where I go, what is your budget? How much are you allocating in the? We got to raise your marketing and advertising budget. We got to raise it up to another $3,000 per month. You're already sitting at $8,000. You got to get above $10K, at least $11,000 to start off with. After the first week or two, we can adjust the daily budget, but don't tweak it too much after the first 2 weeks. And then we work from there. That $1 in, I get $4 out. Went from 1 to 3 to 1 to 4. And so that's just one portion. Think about if you have equipment, supplies. What are you doing? Inventory. How much inventory? What type of inventory? Has this inventory been selling? Is that your highest selling? Now, what are you doing with that to grow it even more? Have you done anything? No, because you're creating other products. You're getting other products on the shelf. You're putting too much, and instead you should be focusing on that one or couple of products and then growing it. Boom. That's it. And I know it sounds easier said than done, but there's a way to do this. And whether you have the numbers or not to back it up, it's just about taking more of a calculated risk. If you can't take a calculated risk, you shouldn't be in business. Period. Done. Don't take calculated risks. Don't be in business. You just I want to have a hobby. I want to be able to see what happens. Ride the wind. Sail into the sun. have my business just running. No, there's things you got to look at. You got to set it up. And if you don't set it up appropriately, that's why people go bankrupt. That's why I had a lady the other day say, hey, I've had enough of this and I've decided to close down my business. And for situations like that, where you could just simply, this is one of many, but where you could raise your personal credit, you could have fixed it, and you could have received funding initially to start with that would have helped you. And then that would have helped carry on for another time you get business financing, and then another one, and then we added business credit, and then while you're improving your credit, boom, we're doing this, boom, and then maybe you have a 401k IRA, maybe there's other credit eligibility, credit facilities we look at, boom, you're in business, you're rocking. Instead of doing that $5,000 initially per month, now you're at 10. Now you're getting closer to 20,000 like that. But because you don't know how to use that money, that's the problem. Like I go into my businesses and I look at them and I go, with my digital marketing agency, with my affiliate marketing businesses, what products do I need to scale? What's been working for me? How do I double down on that and make more from that product alone? Do I need to give out more free stuff? Because that's what it comes down to. Supply and demand. You will have less of a supply, more of a demand. People are more in this market. You should be taking advantage of that. If you are blindsided because there's less of a supply, people won't buy my product, create the demand. It's already there. So what do you need to do on your part? And what I do every single day, I give away something for free. That's the most expensive stuff. I give away for free. What other people would charge for, because that's an entry point. That creates the demand to then that person then shares it with somebody else, creates more demand. It's reciprocated. Now I'm doubling, tripling down my awareness. It's also bringing me more leads, more lead flow. My conversion mechanisms are set appropriately. And then that's what's creating the overall demand. But have you thought of that? It's the question. What are you doing if I went into your business, guess what? That's what I would start to do. Reverse engineer everything. And then understand, are you giving anything away for free? No? Okay, it's time to. It's time to give away this or create something that you need to give away. Not a brochure, not just a little flyer. I get they work. They're an additional piece. But what can you give somebody that they look at and go, man, I could have paid money for this, but I got it for free? Oh, my goodness. They gave me away an incentive. Oh my. They gave me a free PDF. They gave me a free product. That is a great way in an incentive, not just a discount. Comment this, you get a free product of this, or nobody else gets it. And then you get a video showing you how to absorb that supplement and what it actually does to your body over the course of a week if you're exercising. And then on top of that, I can give you a brochure. And then on top of that, I'll give you a PDF document. This is how entrepreneurs think. That's where my mind's at. Not just a business owner. I think like an entrepreneur. I am an entrepreneur. And so when I'm thinking of these things with my businesses, I'm always wondering, like my brother, and I'll get to the comments in a moment. He's in real estate. He's younger than I am. Oh man. I'm letting him do it himself. And if once I jump in that, oh my goodness. Like the demand that I'm going to create for him, like that. And I know my skill sets. So it's less about worrying about what supply is there. It's more about how do I create the demand? And that demand also comes with what can I give away for free? That's the highest costs in my business that I can just give away. And sometimes that does mean giving away a product for free because you bring somebody in. That person will then tell 5 other people, and then that person will tell another 5 people. It creates the demand. Now, however long you open that up to, that's up to you. Limited time, fear of missing out, FOMO. That's what you do. So do you value like a commodity? You value a cookie that is going to expire, like the Choco Taco. I think that's what it's called, right? Chocos. I love that. Man, I think my first one ever was from Taco Bell back in Garden Grove, California when I was very young. Too bad they ran out of those. Hopefully they come back. I'm not sure if they have yet. Maybe there's an update, but the demand for that. Supply less. Guess what? The demand, boom, off the freaking roof. So what can you do in your business to create something where, hey, I need a sense of urgency from you? This is fear of missing out. If you don't get these Choco Tacos right now, we only have 5 remaining. They will also expire in the next day. You have up until 7 o'clock today to pick it up. Landscaping. There's a lot of different things. You give them discounts on a service. You tell them, hey, this is going to expire. This is what I have right now. We have a good special going on. If that's the case, and I know it's not always like that, especially in that field. But I've worked with every industry, and I know, like, hey, there's something here where you got to double down on services, but you got to give away. How are you marketing? How are you giving somebody into the door? Why are you different? How are you different than someone else? Why should I not go to someone else? You're in residential MLO and I want to transition into commercial. How do you recommend I make the move? So that's a very good question. So it depends on, it translates very well. And on that, I mean like your experience. It's more of a determination of anybody who's a starter can get in, just so you know this. But you're more scrutinized. So anybody who's in multi-properties, anybody who's in single-family homes, duplexes, whatever that case may be, it transitions rather well. Depends on what entity you have your set up with. Like your properties, are you underneath an LLC? Do you have an S Corp, C Corp for a business that you operate? And so they go hand in hand. But what we ultimately look at when we look at a transition is not always the paperwork in terms of, okay, the tax returns, and they have to look as much clean as this, the bank statement, if we looked at anything like that for working capital related. That's on that end. Well, we look at it and go, well, what kind of experience do you bring? How much of a personal credit score do you have? And what's your credit history? That's the most important. I would say credit history. And even more so than experience, I would say, because you can even get in with experience, without experience, but your personal credit will tell us how you're managing everything. Your debt, do you have any trade lines? Do you have any accounts that are open? What's closed, if anything? And it shows us a history. And so more or less, it's less of a concern of that. What documentation is the second part I'd focus on. I'd focus on more on finding out what properties are available. Getting that education also on top of that is most important in the commercial property mortgage space. I work with this industry so much. This service, I'm doing a lot of land, ground up construction, commercial property mortgage conversions. And I'm doing single family, multifamily. I'm telling you guys, like, I do all of them precisely. Like, I'm in there. I'm in the trenches as a broker. And so I'm just I've taken enough time here. It's just that transitional phase of your education. What am I getting into? How do I find property? How do I know what to value things at? What are the surroundings? What will it be valued at? What could this be appraised for? And it's just understanding, okay, how do I get in? And that's one foot in the door. The rest of it, then we can talk about documentation and what we would need, but that's it for now. I'm not going to expand too much on the commercial property mortgage. I'm going to end up closing shop here in just a second. Hopefully that helps. No docs, no bank statements, credit score at a 640. I appreciate your enthusiasm, but I will have to pause you there. Because with the 640 credit, that won't get you realistically. It could get you business credit cards, but it'll get you lower tier and it'll get you lesser amounts. So what you want ideally, especially with no docs, no business bank statements, no financials whatsoever, is to have at least a 680 above on all 3 personal credit consumer bureaus. So make sure you're set up at a 680 minimum, and that's a minimum. So the higher you go, the higher you may get approved for. And that's where you leverage your personal credit. So if your personal credit over here you have 20,000. Over here, we more or less can get you equal amount to that. And perhaps more, especially if you have your business credit you're already building. Then we look at vendor credit and we say, well, you have established on business credit. And so that 20,000 can then be pushed to like 30,000, 35,000, 40,000. And so ultimately improve your personal credit. And that goes for real estate as well. Like that's a huge, huge fact. Every real estate investor that I speak to, my best friend, one of them who is a real estate investor, he's somebody that I can like, he knows more about when he's in the trenches on all that because he has more experience than I do. But he's somebody definitely that I can refer people to if you need mentoring on all this. And so that's another component. I have connections, guys. Like I work with the best who do what they do. I focus on what I do. I've done some of the stuff that they do, but I wanted to turn my attention to this. And so hopefully that helps. My laptop's right here. I have my emails open. So I think that will close up everything. For all information, please refer to the bio. Click the link. There should be a set of buttons there. Click the first one, funding submission form, and you'll fill out your details. I have a huge real estate deal coming up too. So just so you guys know, like I'll look through it right here. And if you're looking for traditional real estate financing, there will be a form in the bio too. Click the link, scroll down, and it'll say real estate financing form. Fill that out. It'll ask you for property details, refinance if so, what's the cost of this and that, what do you have on hand, and a few other things to look at to overall address what you can qualify for. So fill that out. If it's traditional, if it's not like working capital related, you're in real estate but it's not towards working capital, then that's another one to look at right there. Okay, so yeah, I was looking at an email really quickly. That will conclude everything. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. This probably will be put on YouTube, so appreciate you guys for contributing. Like always, stay safe and secure. If you guys need business funding at any time, I'm your guy. I know my stuff like 100%. And I'm in those trenches, so I know what is happening. You are most welcome, Kenneth. Appreciate you. Thank you. And once again, you guys have been the best. Whether you've commented or not, I know who's here. I know who shows up. I know who gets an education. My YouTube channel is for all that. Go to the YouTube channel, get the education. Go to my blog, get everything you need there. This is just a snippet of what you get. What I released today, you guys want to go check that one out. All right, take care, guys. Sounds good. Talk to you soon.